In the UK, there are now two markets. There's the market, 44% for most brands, 44% volume is sold at a discount, and the remainder, 56%, is sold at what you might call a normal price. The position is reversed in health and beauty, where 66% is actually sold at a discount, and only 34% is sold at what you might have termed, under normal circumstances, a normal price. And you've got to have a strategy for both. And I want to just look very briefly with you at what is happening at normal and discounted price offerings. Now, what is a discounted reality? dunnhumby, and if you don't know dunnhumby, they manage all the basket insights for Tesco. They say that promotions destroy loyalty. But this isn't necessarily the way it was 10 years ago. Many brands have been built on carefully managed promotions. And actually, when you're running a promotion, your penetration goes up, your volume sale goes up, and your trial goes up. So, you should be getting the loyalists that you actually deserve. But you're not. Why have deeper cuts caused so many issues? And now we're in Donald Rumsfeld territory. For those of you who remember this one, he said, there are known knowns, these are things that we know. There are known unknowns, there are things that we know that we don't know. And then there are unknown unknowns, and we're going to talk about those today. There are things that we don't know that we don't know. And here are some facts. Store availability is poor. That's not what the statistics tell you. The Institute of Grocery Distribution in the UK, who are the quasi-government body that represent the grocery distribution industry, say that UK availability, shelf availability, is 98.2%. But recent research they've done also say that 17% of shoppers are concerned about promotion availability. And it's hard sometimes to pull those two figures together in your mind. And they haven't attempted to as of this point in time. Research that we've done, which is registered in this new white paper coming out, says that 70% of shoppers reported going to stores and finding the products they went to stores for that were advertised for were out of stock. And at Christmas last year, of a large sample of people, 26.7% said they couldn't buy what they wanted. And 48% of them said they didn't buy at all. Whereas 11% said they bought a substitute product. The remainder bought from another store. So that's the UK experience. I don't know how far down this road you guys are, but that's where we are at the moment. And in fact, in discussions that I've had with retailers, Tesco, Sainsbury, and with some of the merchant banks who manage some of the finance of some of the biggest companies around, KPMG and Deloitte, they're saying things like, well, we don't think there's a way back. And the retailers are saying, well, we really don't want to be giving all this away. But it doesn't seem, having voiced that opinion at the back, doesn't necessarily seem to filter down to the front. And it's important to understand that promotions are important to people. When you ask them what they do, if they can't get what they want, 15% of them say that they'd actively try to buy a rival brand in the future. People feel very disappointed if you tell them there's something there and they can't get it. And more, you've got to bear in mind that retailers tend to say things like, well, they'll always buy something else down the facing. There's always something for them to buy. But actually, what happens from the point of view of the shopper and the retailer is the retailer gets more of the blame than the shopper does. And that's absolutely right. In fact, the retailer should be blamed more because they manage the category management process, which is leading to the position where product is not actually physically available when they go into the store. So there is a win-win here. There's a win-win in terms of loyalty gain. There's actually a win-win in terms of increased sales, increased volume. And what we've been trying to do is to put a value on that and understand how something could be done about it. So we've analysed sales stock data for over 1,000 price discounts I know I've called the promotions up there, but let's carry on for the moment, thinking about them as just discounts. Across 24 categories, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda and Boots in the UK, and they exclude fresh food because that is something of a law in itself, but it includes all other categories. And I think we'll need to dwell a little bit on this chart to explain what it says. If you look at the base here, that shows you the discount level of what you would call a normal price. So it goes up to around 50%. It does go higher, actually, but this particular section of the chart goes up to just 49%. And then up on the left-hand side here, you have the average of promotional volume uplift. And we take as our reference point 2 clear weeks before the promotion kicks off. That's the average sales they make then, and then the uplift across the course of the promotion per week that the stores achieve. And the thing to notice here is that there are 3 bars. And down the bottom, it tells you what they are. What you do, when you sit down at the end of a price discount event, you look back and you say, yes, guys, we actually got X amount of uplift. But if you break that down across the stores, you find that some stores did very, very well. And actually, some stores do very, very badly. And what you look at in the middle is the average. Now, if you separate out stores outside of the average, just 20% either side of that average, then you end up with stores here, and this is using those 1,000 promotions, that actually achieved a 10 times uplift. And then down the bottom, just 20% either side of the average. Remember, you have stores which only did 2%, 3%. A huge difference. And, of course, as you could see here, the gap improves, or gap, the wrong word is improvement, the gap widens rapidly the more incentive you put in the market. Because what you're talking about here is the price elasticity. You know, if I drop the price, how much more am I going to sell? And at the moment, while price elasticity is well known to econometricians, it's not used by any of the companies that we know to set the level at which they manage the promotion. And you will work out almost immediately by looking at it that there is a sweet spot much further down where you can actually get the same volume, if volume is your target, with around half the effective discount. And real live activity proves that you can actually achieve that. So, a key driver to loyalty and profit is the consistent profit loss, is the consistent inability of retailers to supply core stores. And one of the things that we noted when we started to look at this was actually what was causing it was if you've got a lot of the right kind of shoppers walking through your door, they're already improving the demand greater than a category relay may have allowed for. And I think somebody mentioned earlier that we needed to categorize the shoppers, not the stores. And in that regard, they're absolutely right. In the UK, £14.2 billion, mainly subsidized by manufacturers, is spent on price discounting in the key retailers, key FMCG retailers only. And of that 42.2 billion, £3 billion doesn't find its way into the shopping basket of an average shopper who'd actually turned up looking to buy a product. And just to put that in a bit more perspective, the total UK media advertising market, including things like telephones and Facebook and all these other newfangled things, is only £19 million. So if you could recycle some of that money into some of this money, then a number of people are going to be a lot better off, including, of course, I mentioned advertising agencies will be a lot better off. Let's just have a little look then at the difference and how it plays out in practice. This is a premium biscuit, and this is one which I chose because I thought that you might be aware of it over here. Are we aware of it over here? Right. what we've got here is what we call an opportunity chart, and this is for affluent grey. Now, this is the kind of product that's bought, by well-off older ladies to have with their tea in the afternoon. And stores which have a lot of those kind of people going through the door either underperform by, on average, 250 units per week in the average promotion, or overperform by 185. And when you're looking at charts like this, the thing to understand is that the average is not good. What is good is getting all of those stores up to around there. So the gap there in performance, in store performance terms, is created by adding the two together, a matter of something around 400 to 500 actual units per week across the course of the promotion. And Asian communities have much less of a gap. You still have something of a gap there because you still have variable people in the catchment area. But you can actually target very effectively to reach the people that you want to reach looking at this. And the core, the understanding, the core thing that makes a real difference, actually, many people say it's all the fault of the store. As well as running a field team and a few other things like that, I was also for 7 years on the research committee of Popeye, looking at point of purchase advertising international. And everybody, it seems to be something that everybody agrees, which it's all the stores and the store managers' fault. If, however, that was the case, then you'd be able to find bad stores and you'd be able to find good stores. And you could fire the managers that were useless, and the managers that were really good, you wouldn't promote them because they never do as well further up the hierarchy, but you'd want to find more like that. That's not the case. What you find is that actually what makes the difference is having the stock in the store the moment the promotion hits, because they can manage moving it from the back to the front, at least they can in the UK. Yes, there are still issues, but it's actually all about forecasting. It's all about the supply chain. And this has to be based on demand, not supply, because what's happened in the past is people have looked back and said, last time we did this, I got a 5 times uplift, let's put 5 times in there, and then the supply chain said, well, let's put half of that into the stores and leave the remainder in the depot. So you've got inherent underperformance built in to your systems. And if you get it right, there are other bonuses as well, because stores that perform well promotionally also perform well after the promotion. Now that is something that surprises